I am Jackie Trotman. I'm an author. I have 3 meditation CDs, and I really teach about learning to be still, letting go, and trusting God so that you can live life with joy and flow. And one of the things I really don't, I love and but I don't focus on entirely is that purpose word. And so I wanted to invite someone today who is called the Purpose Coach. So she knows a thing or two about purpose. And so I want to introduce you to Clestine. I had met her because a beautiful friend of mine, Lethea Owens, had introduced us, and Clestine was having a summit. And so she invited me to be a part of that summit and to teach what I teach about being still. And so I want to introduce Clestine, and I am a storyteller. I love stories, and I'm just going to ask Clestine to share a little bit about herself and her story and how she came to be the Purpose Coach.
Well, first of all, Jackie, I just want to say thank you so much for allowing me to come to your stage in your room. I really appreciate it. And I don't take it lightly because I know that you are a busy lady. So thank you so much for doing that. So my story is, it starts in England when I was a little girl. And, you know, God puts purpose within us. We're born with it. And it's our job to discover what it is, right? So as a child, I always had a desire to teach. I was very shy, very insecure, so I would line up my little dollies and teddy bears and, you know, teach them 1 + 1 = 2. And I loved it. Fast forward, when I was almost 13, we moved from the UK, England, and we moved to the United States of America. And I, in high school, had to pick a track. I was almost 13 when I came to this country. Had to pick a track. And when I started to do some research about teaching, I realized they don't make a lot of money. So I don't think I'm going to pursue that. I've since learned, do not follow money, follow your heart, follow passion, your purpose. So I decided to follow the money, and I decided to do what I was good at. So I was good at math and science. But again, another lesson I learned, just because you're good at something does not mean it's your calling or purpose. And it surely doesn't mean it's your passion. And I was good at math and science, so I've always had something in my heart to say, you are different, you are a leader. So I decided to do something different because everyone else is doing teaching or nursing or business degree or something. So I went into engineering. I was in engineering for 8 years. 2 years into it, I realized I was not an engineer. I hated it. And I also saw that my colleagues were really passionate about it. I just did not have that passion. And so I was like, okay, God. And I've always had a gift of seeing who a person should be, seeing what their gifting is, their genius is. And I was like, okay, God, I can see everybody else's. I cannot see mine. So I prayed for 6 years, and it was like he answered all of my other prayers except for that one. I couldn't hear anything, see anything. It was almost like he went silent when it came to that. So finally, I moved again and ended up at my last company where I was an engineer, the last 2 years of my engineering career. And that is where God started to show me my calling and my purpose and what he had gifted me for. And he showed me that, you know, engineering was your choice, not mine for you. So I got laid off on my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Right, happy birthday. And what was funny was they laid off 117 people on the layoff date. And I was the only, there was 4 layoff dates. They laid off 117 people. I was the only one laid off October the 27th, which is my birthday. So I knew God was sending me a message, and he was saying, hey, I got something better. Happy birthday. And he did. It was my purpose. And that's how I got launched into my calling, my purpose of basically speaking his word and empowering people by speaking, but also helping God's daughters to identify their genius and then profit in it by helping others for whatever it is they're called to. So I think I have the best job in the world because I get to help women, God's daughters, find their purpose and then profit in that purpose.
So I have a question because that purpose word is a very big word. So what would you define as purpose? I know how I would define it, but I want to hear how you define it.
I'm going to keep it simple. Purpose is what you were put on this earth to do. And I'll keep it that simple. We tend to complicate things, and God makes them simple for us to make it so that we can find it, right?
So if someone really has no clue what that purpose is, then what would you say were the steps to finding your purpose, and for those that you help to find what that purpose is?
I will say, look at three things. The first thing, what do you enjoy? It's that simple. What do you enjoy? I took a detour, but as a little girl, I liked to teach. And now I am a teacher. My classroom is the world. My students are women of faith in business, but I still teach. I still get to teach them from the stage. I teach them in the classroom, in my coaching programs. And I'm really passionate about helping people to find what their gifting is and what their purpose is. And I think I'm really passionate. It came out of the fact that I was in a job I hated for 8 years. And so I don't want anyone else to be in that position. So God used that to spark a passion in me to help other people find their purpose. So what do you enjoy doing is the first thing that you should look at. The first thing you should look at. What do I enjoy doing? It could be baking cakes, or whatever. It's always something simple. And a lot of times it's so easy. So that takes us to the second thing, because sometimes you can't see it because you're so good at it and it's so easy for you that you can't even see that it's a gift. And so the second thing is listen to what people are saying around you. Are they saying, oh my goodness, you're so good at that? Or how do you do that? Right? Listen to that, because if multiple people are saying it, you need to go in that direction. So the first thing, what do you enjoy? The second thing is, what are people telling you that you're good at? And then the third thing is, what would you do without getting paid for it? That is a huge indication right there. So for me, I would coach, I would speak, I would empower and encourage people and help them find their purpose and gifting without getting paid. And I have done that. I do it for friends and family, strangers, without getting paid, and still be happy about it. That's a good indication that you need to go in that direction. I would do what I'm doing now without getting paid, but you got to pay the bills, right? So, so I get the opportunity to profit from my purpose.
And on the purpose word, I believe that our purpose really kind of evolves. So I know I used to get stuck when I would think, oh, it's got to be one thing, like so many, like someone that's a singer and they just knew their whole life that was what they were supposed to do, like since the age of 5 years old. Do you want to speak towards that?
So there's a couple of things I'd like to say towards that. So I'm glad you brought that up. So if you look at Matthew 25, that's the parable of the talents. And the master, before he went away, he gave one person 5 talents, another 2 talents, and another 1 talent. The talent is money, but if you look at it as far as gifting, some people are given multiple, some people not as many as others, and some they might only have 1 or 2, not as many as the others, but everybody has gifting. Another thing is, especially if you're profiting from your gifting, as you move forward, you'll start to discover that you have more things. I know for me, I discovered I have a gift in graphic design. I have a gift in marketing. didn't even know I had those gifts. But I discovered them because when I first started my business, I didn't have any money. So I had to do everything and discovered, oh, wow, actually have a gift in this. So you will discover things as you go along. One of the things I will say is to master one thing. And once you've mastered it, then you can use what you make from that one thing to then start doing the other thing. A good example of that is Tyler Perry. If you don't know him, Google him. But he started out by doing plays, and for 9 years, he lived in his car for 3 years, but for 9 years, he was trying to get this play thing off the ground, and they were always a flop. They were always a failure. And the last 3 years, he was living in his car because he was putting all of his money into these plays. And finally, he said, okay, God, if this one does not work, I'm done. I'm quitting because it has been 9 years. And there was only 30 people. He was expecting hundreds of people to come. Again, there's only 30 people. He was devastated, but he did the play anyway. And there was one person out of that 30 who wasn't who wasn't who was an investor, and he invested thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars into his next play, and the rest is history. So he did plays, then he started to do movies. I think he's written 1 or 2 books. And then after the movies, people started to ask him to act in their movies. And now he's got this huge studio that, by the way, is larger than MGM and all the others put together. So nobody saw that coming. But he always says, master one thing and then build on it. Once you master it, then you can add the other things. So all those other things were in him, but he had to get one thing going first, and then he could add the other thing.
And so how do you know that it is truly God's calling?
Well, you have peace about it. Peace is what you use to follow God. Now, you might say, well, I started out with peace, but now I'm feeling afraid. I'm feeling anxiety. I'm feeling all of these things. Anxiety and fear are going to come. They're a part of the journey, which is why God told Joshua 3 times in Joshua 1, be courageous. Why did he tell him 3 times? Because he knows how we are. He knows that as soon as the battle starts, we are going to shrink. And if you look at the stories, when the children of Israel went into the promised land, that's when they had to fight the battle. A lot of times people think, okay, when I get to my promised land, meaning find my purpose, fulfilling whatever God called me to do, there's not going to be any battles. It's going to be easy street. I'll be gliding through everything. No. When you get to your promised land, there are going to be battles, but the battles will be won with God if you know it's him. So if you have peace in your spirit, you could have anxiety in your mind. You can be afraid, but still have peace in your spirit. If you have peace in your spirit, then you know that you're on the right track.
And I think that pretty much answers my last question, was going to be encouragement that you can give people to help them know they're in the right place.
That's right. Peace.
So they'll know that in the right place.
And so you might say, well, how do I know? My mind is just reeling. How can I know if I have peace? Get still. Take a weekend and go out in nature and just be still and get rid of the phone. Turn it off, put it in another room, do something and just lay there, or put peaceful music on, or go for a walk, but just get still and see what's going on in your spirit. And if it's at peace, regardless of what your mind is telling you, if you're at peace, then you know that you're on the right track.
Great. So if people want to know more about you or get some kind of nuggets that you've shared here today, where would they go?
If you want to find out more about me, you can go to mypurposecoach.com, mypurposecoach.com.
And I will put links to that and the other things that you have. So I really appreciate this. Was kind of a harrowing day for us. We were having all these connection issues, internet issues, but we persisted.
That's right.
and we made
That's
it.
right.
So
Because we're courageous, right? We
yes,
use
we are
courage to
courageous.
press through in our purpose.
Yes. Okay, well, it's been a delight, and I hope that you've enjoyed Clestine as much as I've enjoyed meeting with her and being a part of, so honored to be a part of her summit. And stay tuned for more ways to live your life with joy and flow and purpose.
Thank
Bye
you.
for now.
Bye-bye.